When you were a kid, did you have any women in STEM you looked up to?
You know what? I don't think I did.
We have to answer humanity's call to explore.
Feminism is just another word for equality.
Because you know your own value. Know your own value.
Today I'm at NASA JPL and I'm headed to Mission Control, where they manage all of NASA's crewless spacecrafts outside Earth's orbit, including the Mars rovers and deep space probes using the Deep Space Network. Hi.
Hello.
I'm a little nervous.
Me too.
We're doing a new series called InfluenceHER. We're very honored because you are going to be our first guest.
Oh, thank you. My name is Amy Smith and I'm the Deputy Project Manager for the Deep Space Network.
Could you explain a little bit about what the Deep Space Network does?
So the Deep Space Network is the connection between scientists and mission controllers on Earth and all of the spacecraft exploring our universe right now.
Does all communications from spacecrafts use the Deep Space Network?
So the Deep Space Network is basically about the moon and beyond, right? So things that are orbiting the Earth, we don't generally use the DSN for, but things that are out at moon distance or all of the outer planets, that is where we are using the DSN.
How far from Earth can the DSN communicate?
So right now, the DSN can communicate with the Voyager spacecraft, which has left the solar system. And so those signals take about a day from the time we radiate them here on Earth to reach the Voyager spacecraft, and then about a day for them to turn around and come back and be received back here.
Wow.
And we expect to track the Voyager spacecraft for a bit longer, so we don't know how far we can go. See in real time what we're talking to. I look at it all the time. So the squiggly lines going up mean we're sending a signal to that spacecraft, and the squiggly lines coming down means we're receiving data from that spacecraft. Yeah, so we're talking to Europa Clipper right now, and Juno, and Voyager 2 from Canberra.
According to NASA's website, the total signal power arriving at a network antenna from a spacecraft encounter among the outer planets can be 20 billion times weaker than the power level in a modern digital wristwatch battery. Regarding this fact, how can the DSN pick up such a weak signal?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that's really exceptional about the DSN. So we have these really big antennas, right? So it's a really big listening area. We are able to point our antennas very accurately, so we look as close to the spacecraft as we can. And then we have cryo-cooled receivers. So we get our hardware really, really, really cold so we can filter out all of that other noise and we can amplify just the signal from the spacecraft. But it is a very difficult thing to do.
So cool.
It is super cool.
What was the most surprising thing you've seen in this job?
So I've worked at JPL for over 20 years, and I am continuously amazed by how the spacecraft work. They're super complex, they have crazy objectives, and they're built across years and many, many teams, and it's so amazing when it all comes together and works and delivers the science as they intended.
What was the hardest thing you've had to do in this job?
Before this exact job that I had, I was still working in the DSN and building new 34-meter antennas at our complexes. Building a humongous structure is very complicated. And then the combination between building an instrument, which has to be very precise, and doing construction, which generally is not very precise, and trying to get everybody on the same page about which things were critical during construction and which things were kind of standard construction. That was very difficult. And then on top of that, we were doing it in Spain. So they've got different culture, different working culture, different language, all of those things. So that was a very difficult job.
Whoa. What would I do if I was working here? What are the different jobs people do in here?
Yeah, so there's lots of different jobs. So the folks that are in here, we've got our operations chief to make sure that everything across the network is running. That's who you would call if you had a question or if anything went wrong with your spacecraft. You'd call the ops chief and say, hey, what's going on? The ace is the person who's going to uplink commands to the spacecraft.
Whoa.
So they are
this computer?
So that would be this computer, or you can see the Curiosity Ace or the Voyager Ace. So different projects would sit at a console and they would communicate with the mission and make sure that they understood exactly which command they wanted to send. And then they would send it to the DSN and they would confirm that they got the exact command that we wanted to, and then it gets sent up to the spacecraft. But there are lots of other jobs in the DSN. There's engineering and building and testing and deploying things at our stations. Just like a car needs maintenance, like you gotta rotate the tires and change the oil. We have to do that on our antennas to keep them running well. So we got a crew that does maintenance. We have a whole crew of engineers that are developing the next technologies that are gonna go into our antennas.
Wow. How were you able to get this job at JPL?
So I studied electrical engineering in college, and then I got an internship here before I graduated, and that was kind of my foot in the door. I highly suggest getting an internship at any place that you think you might want to work, because you can kind of understand much better what it's like if you've actually been there.
When you were a kid, did you have any women in STEM you looked up to?
You know what? I don't think I did. I didn't even know that engineering was a job when I was a kid. And so it wasn't until I went to college that I really started to connect my love of taking things apart and putting them back together, and my skills in like science and math and things like that. So I don't know that I had a specific mentor or person that inspired me.
Whoa.
I just really like taking things apart.
Do you have any advice for aspiring girls in STEM like me who want to work in jobs like yours?
Experiment on your own, test out all sorts of things that you are really interested in, visit places, get an internship, just be excited about science and math, and don't be afraid to work hard.
Thank you for the advice.
Yeah.
And as a bonus question, what do you like to do for fun?
Everything outside. I like to hike and bike and camp and climb and ski. So I like to be outside.
Well, thank you for doing this little interview with me.
Of course.
It's really interesting to see your personal experience working here at NASA JPL, and really fun to learn about the DSN.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Thank you so much to NASA JPL for having me. I had the best day ever. I can't wait to come back again, maybe even for the first day of an internship. Thanks for watching.